Yes, that's absolutely right, Fraser, and there will certainly be questions raised about the opinion polls in the run-up to this election. Having said that, Lula actually scored within the margin of error. As you say, the elections haven't quite all been counted, the votes haven't all quite been counted, but he seems to be on about 48.5%. The big surprise was the turnout for Bolsonaro. He ended up with a figure around 43%. Much larger than his predicted 36-37%, according to those opinion polls. And as you also mentioned earlier, he's also been talking about possible fraud once again in the elections. It's something that he's repeated several times over, saying that Brazil's electronic voting system is fraudulent. However, there is no foundation for those allegations.
That's obviously going to sound familiar to quite a few people around the world. In the US, Donald Trump refused to accept the results of his election loss. That he's been compared to Bolsonaro. Bolsonaro himself has been compared to Trump quite a bit over the last few years. There were fears that Trump wouldn't leave power. Is that a similar fear in Brazil?
Absolutely. Many people are very worried about that possibility, and they're also very worried about the violence that this campaign has been engendering. Some have said it's the most violent election campaign since the return to democracy in the 1980s. Several people have been murdered for expressing their political views, and now that we have another 4 weeks between these two arch rivals, President Bolsonaro and former President Lula, things could possibly get worse. As you say, he's been talking about fraudulent voting systems. It's something that he's repeated not only during the election campaign, Bolsonaro. This was a theme that he started talking about as early as last year. And as a result, some people are worried that he would indeed try to start a Trump-like insurrection should Lula win that second round vote.